Hi everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Joe Yoga Life Diaries, and today's going to be a bit of a conversation about children's mental health. Last week's episode was about how you could help your teenager. So if you have a teen who seems to be withdrawing from you a little bit, then just go to last week's episode and check that out, because that's got some tips on how to keep the communication going, how to help your teen while they're dealing with this rather crazy situation that we currently find ourselves in. And this week is Children's Mental Health Week. So my job, apart from as a yoga teacher with incredible spiritual women and guiding them through their spiritual journey, I also spend many of my days in schools and working with children and teaching them yoga and mindfulness and supporting schools and teachers as well in delivering this method and this general health practice. And so this week, well, is often a very, very busy week for me. I go in and do lots of specials and assemblies and talks and classes and meditations and things, but obviously it's a little bit different this year. But even so, I'm still being able to teach remotely and was in school all day yesterday and will be tomorrow as well, being able to just ensure that children are aware of their mental health. And that's where I want to start today, is that we teach and were taught ourselves all about physical health pretty much from day one, from when we were first taught how to clean our teeth, taught how to go to the toilet, taught to wash ourselves, taught what to eat, fruit and vegetables, taught about exercise. We were taught all of that stuff. So right from a really early age, we're very aware of the importance of physical health. However, mental health is not something that was ever really touched on. This is why I think this is amazing now that it is so much at the forefront and we are talking about it so much more. And to children, it doesn't matter how young they are, they need to know that their breath is within their power, that they can think about things that make them happy and make them smile. And, even nursery children that I teach are very, very capable of experiencing this side of themselves and understanding and connecting with their mental state. And so mental health really does need to be right up there with teaching about physical health as well. And there is no limit of how young we can start teaching this. And so awareness is a massive, massive factor here. As a little tip, I will often start my classes with the question, close your eyes, take a deep breath. How do you feel today? And I think this is probably a question that we don't ever ask ourselves and probably never ask. We always say, oh, how are you? And it will normally be, oh, I'm okay. But really, 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 how do you feel? And I don't, depending on the class, if they're really little, I might invite them to share because they feel like they need to share. But certainly older children, from probably about the age of 7 or 8, I don't invite them to share because I want them to understand that it's a personal experience and not everything needs to be shared. Not everything is for impact or for effect. And actually checking in with themselves, asking themselves how they feel, and noticing how they feel isn't about showing off and sharing to somebody else. It's about connecting with the self. That's all it is. It can be very hard for children to take part in something or do something that isn't going to have an effect on their image or their persona within the class. It's very much about, what they want to share. They want to know where they fit in with the space. So to then invite them to do something very personal, very introverted, and to not share and to connect with themselves can be very freeing, but also quite frightening at times. So we have to hold that space for them and we have to be aware of them and just kind of nurture and go, it's okay if you don't know how you feel, if you can't put a label on it, but I just want you to be aware that, yep, today I'm quite neutral, or today I'm nervous, or today I'm happy, or today I'm cold, or all of these things, just checking in with themselves. That awareness is a really, really beautiful thing, and from there they can start to really become friends with their mental health. And before I continue with today's episode, I just want to make you aware of my Sharing Mindfulness with Children course that I have on my website. This is directed to anybody really who, a parent, a teacher, any kind of youth worker that works with children that wants to one, be aware of how mindfulness can help children. 2, improve their own awareness of their mindfulness. And 3, be able to share mindfulness tips with their children, their class, their pupils, their students, whatever capacity you might be working with young people in. It's a really, really beautiful course. It's all digital and online. I used to run days where we'd all get together. These amazing people would get together and we'd share the days. But obviously now it's a little bit different. So it's all online and can be done in your own time. And what you receive are video trainings. You learn about the science of mindfulness, how the nervous system works, why children might start to get anxiety and how to spot them because it's not obvious. So you get the practices, the tools, and really what's important, easy to implement tips. It's not hard once you know the little tools and tricks to share with the children, depending on the age. You receive your own Kundalini yoga practice as well, so that you can open your heart and receive the learnings in a much greater and more beautiful way. And you get a full colour manual to download so that you can have the course with you wherever you go. And also with that, you get relaxation scripts that you can share with the children and lots of tips and tools. And it really is a very, very valuable course. So if you're interested in that, then just go to realjoyoga.com/mindful children. I'll put the link down in the show notes anyway. The whole course for you to keep forever is £127. So it's a total bargain and it can be shared with hundreds and hundreds of children. So going back to this lovely awareness that we create in the children, that they can recognize how they feel and they begin to observe how they feel. And once you've asked them that question and they've kind of tuned in and know how they feel, then we start to go, right, how do you feel physically? And that's easier for them to understand. That's easier for them to answer properly. How do they feel physically? And then how do you feel emotionally? So they are then creating a difference between their physical body and their emotional / mental body. It's very beautiful when you watch them, and I watch their faces while they're thinking of these answers, and you can see the faces change, and it really is a beautiful thing. And so I then sometimes ask them what makes them happy. And what was very interesting in some of my classes this week was that a lot of the stuff that came up were wonderful things. It was pets, friends, playing with mum and dad, going to the beach, lots and lots of things. YouTube, gaming, social media, that sort of stuff came up as well. But everything was outside of the person. Everything was an influence from outside. And this is nobody's fault, and this is not wrong, because there is nothing wrong with deciding to sit down and binge watch some trash telly. However, if we did that every day, all day, that wouldn't be great. The same as it's no harm to have a sweet every now and then. But if we ate sweets every single day, that's when the problems start. So I was then guiding the children into finding the happiness within them. So then we started to do some practice. So we did some breath practice. We did the 5-3 breath, which is where you breathe in for 5, hold it for 3, breathe out for 5, hold it out for 3. We did a few of those little practices. Then we did a bit of a dance around, a bit of movement to some fun music. Then came into mountain pose and stood really tall. And then I checked in with them again. How do you feel? How do you feel physically? How do you feel emotionally? And has anything changed? All of them had experienced a change, a lift, a mood lift, because they'd really connected with their body and they'd shut out everything from outside. They'd shut out, other things that make them happy from outside. They just stood in the same space. And I said, you haven't moved. You haven't actually physically moved spot. We've done some movement, but nothing else around you in your outside experience has changed. And you have changed how you feel. So it's really empowering them when they learn that actually they already have the tools inside of them to make them feel better, to make them feel happier, maybe to make them feel a little bit out of breath. But all of them had, different little movement tools. So when we did the dance around, it was a free space, so they could dance and move if they wanted to, or they could run on the spot, or they could do some burpees, or they could do whatever they wanted, and all of them experienced a positive change. And I think that's really wonderful. Don't you? How making children aware of their mental health and being able to make a difference to their mental health can be done in as little as 4 or 5 minutes. Really, really love that. And so again, if you want to put these things into practice, then obviously they're there for you to do. Please let me know how it goes. And if you want to dive deeper into the subject of sharing mindfulness with your children, then go to realjoyoga.com/mindful children. That's realjoyoga.com/mindfulchildren, and check out the course. And then it happens in front of your eyes. It's the most beautiful thing to watch children connect with their mental health and be empowered to know that ultimately they can manage it in a way that is healthy and safe for them to do so. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Please share it, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening today. If anything resonated or you feel inspired to, please share, as that is how we spread the healing. To learn more about me, my teachings, or any of the Joe Yoga programs, go to www.joeyogauk.co.uk, and I'll see you next time. Bye!